So good to have you all here with us tonight. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025, and at 7 o'clock p.m. we are convened as the Provo City School Board of Education, meeting at 280 West, 940 North in Provo, Utah, and we'll begin with a roll call. And let's start with Melanie.
Melanie Hall, Board Member.
Emily Harrison, Board Member.
Meg Van Wagenen, Board Member.
Wendy Dow, Superintendent.
Jennifer Partridge, Board President.
Gina Hales, Board Vice President.
Karen McCabe, Board Member.
Lisa Boyce, Board Member.
Devin Daly, Business Administrator.
Bailey Lindstrom, Student Board Member.
Rachel Ruth, Student Board Member.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to convene our business meeting?
I move that we convene our business meeting.
I'll second.
Motion made by Vice President Hales and second by, who was that? Board Member Hall. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are in our business meeting. And our first item here is our opening remarks, and we'll turn that over to Board Member Meg Van Wagenen.
Sweet. Okay, well, welcome everybody. We have like a packed house tonight, which is always fun. So it's so great to see all of you. I am just going to be quick, but I'm going to read a quote that I found that I like from a creator that I appreciate. Especially, I feel like the last little bit there's just been a lot. I feel like things have felt heavy. I think any of us in our personal lives, things can be challenging as well. I think public education is a continual place where things are changing, conversations are happening about what we should be doing, what we need to be doing, and what's changing at the federal level. And I'm just going to read this for you guys. Okay. The creator, her name is Danielle Koch. She said this: "Don't let your heart grow cold. The world needs its warmth. With every beat, life flows out. All that you do will erupt from that deep well. When the tragedies of this life pierce your heart like ice, let them be met by the warmth of compassion, the heat of love and motion. May your heart swell with a desire to remember all that is true and right and lovely and just. Let your days be the evidence of a heart on fire." I think, but when I am in our schools and doing different things as part of my responsibilities as a board member, I see kind of this like heart on fire in our schools, and with so many different people doing such great things, teachers, nutrition staff, our principals, assistant principals, our district staff, and leaders. And I'm just kind of grateful for that reminder of bringing heart to what we do, even when the world feels heavy.
Thank you, Meg. All right, our next item is we are going to be led now in the Pledge of Allegiance by Westridge Elementary students Matthias Tanner and Sailor Tanner, and they are in 5th and 3rd grade at Westridge. So we'll invite them to come up and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Sailor and Matthias, thank you so much for that, and we appreciate you being here tonight. And later in our meeting, we're going to get a report from our Westridge Elementary principal as well, so that will be great. Okay, next we're moving on to our Community Connections portion. And before we do our Provo Way Awards, we are going to start with a magical moment video.
The Panther Way team came about really from a lot of different needs and work, but really we felt the need to be more proactive in recognizing good behavior and teaching good behavior to students, and so we thought that would be a great first step. And we had this small vision of improving the school and making it a more positive place, because we felt like our school needed to be somewhere that every student felt safe, they felt loved, they felt cared about, they felt like they had an adult that really took interest in their life and cared about them, and then also students as well. And so that's where the Panther Way team came in. And then Jen has brought on so many of these different ideas and different initiatives to really take it to the next level. And I think that this is really important aspect of leadership, is finding the right people and putting them in the right places so that their leadership and their skills can just shine. And that's really what we've done with Jen and the Panther Way team. And that's what she does with these kids every day too, is she gets these kids that have tons of potential, and then we bring it out of them, and it's just really amazing to see the growth that happens with them and the impact that they have on their peers around them.
At the beginning of the year in 7th grade, I used to be really bad with my grades, and I used to skip, and I used to be tardy, and my attendance was bad. But after I met Ms. Jen, I feel like that has changed a lot, because after that I started getting less tardies, my attendance was good, and my grades were getting higher, because she helped me with getting my grades up and all of that.
Being in the Panther Way, what it means to me is like helping other students, helping them with what they need, and like giving them a friend, you know.
To me, being a Panther Way member means helping students when they need help, and for me, my behavior has improved a lot because I have a lot of examples going on in the school and in my advisory and on the Panther Way.
It's impacted me to show that, you know, you never know what people are going through, so that's why you always treat them with respect.
I think it helps me with like to be more confident and like be better with talking to people like important and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm just there to let them know that they have a friend and that they have someone to talk to.
It just helps remind me that everybody is going through the same things, and just respect everyone no matter what, and just always be compassionate.
You know, when you go on a tour to middle school, and you're going to have middle school students, you never know what normal's going to be. You kind of don't know what you're going to get when you show up. And I say that in the most positive way possible. It's just, you know, we're dealing with amazing students that have their own ideas. Showing up at Shoreline, they met us at the sidewalk with pictures of ourselves and welcoming us to their campus. And a couple members of their team there, Noah and Victor, had a presentation that they just gave us a little bit about the Panther Way and the expectations of students and teachers at Shoreline Middle School.
Some of the things that we shared are how you can get to know me, like this, and our programs here at Shoreline Middle School, like our Panther Way values and Check and Connect and all sorts of stuff that we're supposed to go over. We prepare slideshows and scripts so we can know what we're supposed to say.
To prepare for the tour, we go over what we're going to say. We try to come up with different scenarios of what might happen. Afterwards, we were just talking about like our school, the groups in our school, how they all work, what the Panther Way team really does to help students.
He asked us questions about like how the Panther Way values like affect our school.
I think it's important to take the people like on the tour because that way they know what's going on in the school. We can explain to them how we feel like we are helping students and helping kids just to grow and learn better.
I love seeing all the great things happening in our schools. So thanks to those who put that video together and to Shoreline. Next, we're going to move on to our Provo Way Awards, and we'll invite Deputy Superintendent Jason Cox up to introduce this.
Good evening, school board. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize these wonderful people. We get the opportunity to recognize some employees in our school district and also a student this month. We really appreciate the work that they do and the influence that they have on one another. So what I'm going to do is read off the names of those who we're recognizing tonight. We'd love to have them stand, and we can clap for each one of them as I call them out. We don't have to wait till the end. So our first person we're recognizing tonight is Nancy Guthrie from Oak Springs. We have Landell Krebs from Transportation. Capri Jenkins from Shoreline. Tatum Bunker, a math specialist. Diane Southwick at Sunset View. Student this month is Owen Black from Provo High. Our communications department has prepared a video, and so what we'll do is we'll watch the video. After the video, we're going to give the board an opportunity to thank each of these winners personally. So we're going to have them come up here and allow the board members to shake their hand. They've got a little gift for them too. So we'll do that after the video. So we'll go ahead and go to that point.
Nancy is an amazing math teacher. She always finds ways to get the students excited and engaged in learning math. She's patient and soft-spoken with all of her students. She's the math teacher we all wish we had growing up, and the math teacher we all hope our students get, because we'd know they were being cared for in her class, learning exactly how they need to. I've only worked with Nancy for a couple of months, but she has shown me what a real teacher is and shows up every day to help her students succeed and be better people. We could all learn from Nancy, not just in math, but in life.
Last year, our 10th U High School Latinos in Action classes had the amazing opportunity to go to Provost Elementary School at least once a week. One of the highlights of the tutoring experience has been getting to know Lanny. Lanny knows the first name of many of his students who have been on this route throughout the years. Lanny takes the time to make sure his students and the lucky teacher along for the ride feels welcome and safe. Provo City School District is lucky to have Lanny working with our students.
Our first day at Provo High was one of the best days of school I ever had. I went into the cafeteria and noticed that it looked really different than what I was used to at Shoreline. But it dawned on me that day just how much effort and love that the lunch lady there, Ms. Capri, and her team put into making the food at Shoreline the best it can be. Her smile and positivity was a ray of sunshine I took for granted until it was gone. I needed to take the time to recognize her because she doesn't ever stop making things the best she can out of love for her students. She doesn't get the recognition or love she deserves back, so I wanted to see if someone could give her a little too.
It is my pleasure to nominate Tatum Bunker for recognition of her exceptional contributions as an elementary math specialist and leader in instructional coaching within our district. Tatum supports our elementary schools by providing comprehensive training to teachers and instructional coaches on how to effectively implement math curriculum. She collaborates closely with instructional coaches and school PLC teams through planning, co-teaching, and modeling high-quality instruction, ensuring that best practices are not only understood but effectively applied in classrooms. Her dedication, work ethic, and unwavering integrity set her apart.
Diane's dedication, wisdom, and patience are astounding. This year in particular, she has faced numerous challenges here at school with exceptional grace and professionalism, consistently displaying a rare level of calm and resolve even in the most demanding situations. In her personal life, Diane devotes herself to her family with the same dedication and compassion she brings to her students. She is a devoted mother, grandmother, daughter, and sister. I am blessed to be a colleague on her team and learn from her example every day.
Owen Black is an outstanding member of our student government and a true example of leadership at Provo High. He approaches everything he does with positivity, dedication, and hard work. In addition to maintaining strong grades, Owen is actively involved in drama and choir, where he shares his talents and enthusiasm with others. He is always willing to lend a helping hand, and his kindness shines through in the way he supports his peers. Beyond school, Owen is a devoted son, brother, and friend, someone who uplifts those around him through his generosity and good character.
Yeah, we want to congratulate those winners one more time, so let's give them one more round of applause. Have you come right up here and allow each of the board members to thank you personally for the work you do. So call them on up and line up right over here.
Congratulations. We're really nice.
Seriously.
We don't bite.
We're actually super friendly.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thanks for what you're doing.
Congratulations.
Lanny, I hope you saw those signs for you in the back. Congratulations.
Hold them up, guys, hold them up.
Nancy, you're awesome.
Yeah,
There you go. So, they love you. Thank you so much. That really got my heart. So sweet. Thank you.
thank you for all that you
Do. I'm giving you knuckles. No, you're good. I'll
Fan
shake your hand
club
too,
with
but
you.
Awesome.
I know you had no idea, but it's present.
You got this great.
It's awesome. Great job.
I'm normally the guy.
Oh, thank you so much for all that you do. Yeah, awesome.
We're glad to have you in the
Diane. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do. Thanks for all you do to make.
Good job, Owen. That's amazing. Hi, Owen. Way to go. Way to go.
This chair always makes me happy.
I know. Like I go to sit back, like, oh, I'm like, oh.
All right, one more thank you to all of our winners, and we appreciate all that you do to make Provo a wonderful place to be. So thank you. All right, the next item on our agenda tonight is we're going to get a principal report for Westridge Elementary from Principal Kim Hawkins. And I'll say as Kim is walking up here, if there's anyone who is here to give public comment, that will be after the school report. And so now is the time to fill out your paper to be able to do that. So.
Hello, board. Good evening. I'm glad to be here. I'm super excited to share with you some information about Westridge and to kind of tell you our story at Westridge. Don't get scared by the amount of slides I have. I can talk really, really fast. And Wendy, you can give me the cut right now if I go on for hours and hours. But I love Westridge, and I'm super excited to share with you what we're doing there. So our mission and vision is here, but I want to start a little bit with demographics. We have 547 students at Westridge this year, which has dropped from last year, actually. Our ethnicity, you can see we have 66% of our students are Caucasian, 24% of our students are Hispanic, and then we have 17% of our population are multilingual learners. So we have about 95 students that are learning English at Westridge. Our student with disability population is about 14, almost 15%, which equates to about 80 students. We have 35% of our students on free or reduced lunch, and that's actually a drop as well from last year. All last year, actually for the last several years, we've been at 40%. That number worries me a little bit because I don't think that our parents have applied for free and reduced yet. And as I get the weekly reports from Child Nutrition showing me their big balances, I'm like, yeah, they haven't applied yet. So we're working on that. And then our average attendance at Westridge is about 95%. It's interesting, the week before we did the district attendance day, our attendance was about 94%. And then our district attendance day, we were so excited and we had prizes and we were ready and they were 95% again. So we're at 95%. We're trying to get that up a little bit higher, but I can't complain at a 95, to be honest with you. Our class sizes, you can see the numbers on the right in the parentheses are the class sizes. Our 5th grade is right now, it has the highest enrollment. We have about 3 teachers on every team except for our 6th grade team, and they have 4 teachers there. So I'd like to share with you some student achievement data, and the formatting of this is kind of consistent the whole way through, so as I go I'll explain the formatting and then you'll kind of see the method to my madness maybe, or just my madness. So 2023, 2024, our RISE scores are there. You can see 54, 56, 58% in those areas. You can see that we did outscore the state and the district with those scores. Our scores for last year just came in, last week I think it was. We don't have our language arts scores, but you can see our math remained the same and our science dropped. And you can tell probably by my body language, I'm not really happy about that number, but we are going to identify what happened there and do some data diving into that science score. Our Acadience reading data, so this is the composite data, and these graphs are kind of the same the whole way through the presentation. That first set of graphs are from last year. I wanted to show you where we were and what we accomplished. And then the bottom left-hand graph is our beginning of the year data. So you can see in our kindergarten, 65% of our students at the beginning of the year were ready where they needed to be. By the end of the year, they were 90%. We were super excited about the growth in our kindergarten classrooms. You can see 52% of our students are on benchmark right now in August, September when we tested. Our first grade went from 59% to 82%. So some great growth there, with 70% of our first grade students coming in on benchmark due to those high scores in kindergarten. Second grade, 68 to 72%, and at the beginning of the year, 80% of our students were at benchmark. Third grade, 68 to 79%, with 63% on grade level this year. Fourth grade, 72 to 74%, with 72 on grade level at this point in the year. Same with 5th grade, 72 to 74. That's not an error. Those numbers are correct. 4th and 5th were about the same. And then 72% on level at the beginning of the year. Our 6th grade, they came in pretty high, 83% on level, and ended with 93%. That number always makes me really, really happy, to be honest with you, because I tell our teachers all the time that I want our 6th graders ready for Shoreline when they leave. I want them to be able to have the best access to education when they leave the elementary level. So I'm always really excited when we have numbers like 93% at the end of the year for 6th grade. So we also have our Acadience Pathway of Progress, which I know you guys are aware of. That's really that individual student progress and the growth they make from beginning to end. So our school improvement plan and our trust land plan, our goal was that 80% of our students would be at typical or above benchmark. And these graphs, you can see what you want to look at really is that EOY for year 2025. So the kindergarten has that 86%. 86, that top set of data, that top line is Westridge, the bottom is the district comparison. The other thing you want to look at is the kind of yellowy orange, that boy red to yellow above typical at the end of the year. That percentage is the number of students that were closing the reading gap. So you can see kindergarten, 86% of the students made typical or better progress when they were judged against themselves and their own progress. First grade, it was 90%. Second grade was 79%. They barely missed it, that 80% goal that we had. Third grade was at 87%. Fourth grade, 71. That was a pretty big drop for our fourth grade students. Fifth grade was at 80, and then sixth grade, 91%. So overall, if we look at our K-3 data, because that's such a critical thing with UELP, we had 86% of our students that achieved their pathway of progress. And you can see that district comparison there as well. So this is the one thing I really wanted to point out to you. A few years ago, it seems like it was, I say it's a few years ago, but it's longer than that. I'm just old. When I went to Westridge, there was a real deficit in reading. And you can see under that historical data arrow, you can see where we were on our pathway of progress. In 2021-2022 school year, we were 10th in the ranking of elementary schools. And within a short amount of time, we went from 10th to 1st in 1 year. And then you can see we went to second place, I guess you could say, and then this last year, first again. So that just shows that what we're doing in reading at Westridge is really working, and our students are making some great growth. Our school improvement plan, one of the goals was that 60% of our multilingual students would make typical or better progress on their Acadience reading. And we ended up with 74% of our students making that progress. So we were super excited about that number. Then with our math, with the composite and pathway of progress, kind of the same format up at the top. Last year, our kindergarten went from 70% to 89% on their composite, with 91% growth in that chart on the right-hand side. And then our students this year coming in are at 62%. Our first grade went from 46 to 70% with 90% growth with their pathway of progress, and then 62% of our students are on grade level at the beginning of the year. Second grade went from 63 to 76% with 77% growth. You can see that 63% is where they started this year. And then our third grade, the one thing I want to point out is looking at the boy to moi, that beginning of the year to middle of the year, there was a significant drop. And then went back up to the 75% with 76% growth. That was an interesting little piece of academic information that we received at the middle of the year. We looked at that, and my third grade team is an established team. Two of the teachers have been in the school for a lot longer than I have, that's for sure. And I didn't believe the data. That's one of those, nope. It's lying to me. And I know, I always tell my teachers that data doesn't lie, but I knew it was lying. There was no way those teachers were at 46%. To the point that I said, we're going back and we're rechecking the test. It was graded incorrectly. And we spot checked, and it wasn't graded incorrectly. And so we had a really hard conversation, a really good conversation about what happened, why. And we implemented some really great math strategies and some math practice. And that third grade team turned that number around, and those students did well. Our NWE math data shows at the end of the year, 54% of our students were proficient on the NWEA, and at the beginning of the year, 45% are proficient. We know from Nate and all of the trainings that he gives us as principals with NWEA, we need that 60% number. That's the correlation to passing RISE. So we have some work to do in math to get our students to a point where they can pass that RISE test. And you can see this is just the individual breakdowns for the grade levels. Then our Utah Learning Plan goals, you guys are aware of those, but this is really exciting to me. We worked really hard as a team at Westridge to look at UELP and to figure out how to best help students. So one of the goals was that the reading Acadian scores, there would be an increase of 12%. And you can see on that Westridge line, we actually had the most growth that we needed to make. We were really below where we needed to be. And you can see we not only made that 12%, we almost doubled the increase with that UELP goal. And you can see across the kindergarten through third what that data looks like. One of the other goals was to just stay kind of right where we were, maintain the benchmark percentage on the math. And you can see as you look across those graphs, we not only maintained, we made progress. So that was exciting for us as well. Then that last goal for the Utah Learning Plan was that 60% of the students would make typical or above growth in math. And you can see our first through third grade, we had 81% growth there. So super excited to see when we focus on data and we focus on students and we focus on how to help them, we achieve. And that was a great example to the teachers of what they can do when they work together. So I want to share with you our goals and then some challenges and some strategies and some points of pride. So our school improvement goal and our trust line goal for this year, we have that 80% goal with our Acadians Pathway of Progress. We want the students to continue to make that 80%. Our second goal is a RISE goal. So we want 3% increase, which matches with the district improvement plan. We want a 3% increase in our math scores and our science scores, according to RISE. We also set a goal for our first and second grade to really focus on reading. So we want an increased amount of students in first grade by 20%, and then in second grade, 40%. We want our younger grades to really focus on reading so that when they get to the upper grades, reading is not a problem. And they will do better with the higher level reading skills. And then we have a goal of 70% of our students that are multilingual learners will score, 70% or higher on Acadians reading. So one of the challenges that we had as I went to Westridge is that Westridge was identified as a TSI school for two categories, students with IEPs and then our multilingual population. We worked really hard, and you can tell I'm super excited because can you see that bright red, big smiley face up there? We got out of TSI status, and we're super proud of that, and we talk about that a lot, that we can do it when we focus. Another one of our challenges is that we just need to increase student achievement in all of those core content areas, and you can see those strategies there that we're working on. I think probably the most important for us right now, the things that we're working on right now, are monitoring student progress with the different assessments that we have, that student feedback piece, and then a consistent collaboration with PLCs and data analysis. Those are the three things that we really are focusing on right now. The other thing, the other challenge and strategies that we're looking at is just our students with IEPs and our multilingual students. Really focusing on helping them to achieve as much as they can. We have monthly multilingual professional development for teachers, and we've had that for a long time with the help of the district CSI department with Michelle. But one thing that we've started this year that I think is really helpful that the teachers have loved is that we are doing special education professional development. And it's taught by our special ed teachers and the speech teacher and our psychologist. And that has been so helpful. The teachers have loved that. Last month we're doing a 2-part piece on students with autism and how to help students with autism and understanding their needs. So last month we did the first part, our SPED team, and this month they will finish that off. So that's been very, very helpful for our students. The other piece is that, again, that consistent team collaboration. We're collaborating with our special ed team and the general ed team and looking at that data and seeing how we can continue to help students. Our points of pride, we were recognized, our first grade team was recognized by the USBE, they were recognized by BYU, by the district, the ULEAD group, for being one of the highest performing teams in the state. And that really is because of the collaboration and their data-driven decision making and student goal setting. That's really why they did such a great job and do such a great job. The other thing is we were recognized, our first through third grade teams were recognized for meeting all the UELP goals, and that was a super, super great achievement for our lower grades. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is our kindergarten this year. We had a really great start to kindergarten, and I attribute that to some changes that we made with kindergarten testing. So what we did is we hosted a kind of a meet and greet in the spring. Just bring your kids. We did little centers. They got swag, Westridge swag, and they got to meet the teachers and all of the admin staff, the people that they're going to interact with. That was the first thing. Then when they came to kindergarten testing this year, we grouped students in about groups of 5. Instead of doing a one-on-one testing session, we had groups of 5 come. They rotated in centers in one classroom to each of the teachers, and the teachers did their normal assessments, but they also gave them tasks, some fine motor tasks, some listening tasks, and going to the carpet and coming back to their seats. And so the teachers could really see what was needed on a social, emotional, and behavioral way, as well as that academic piece. And then we had our normal Westridge Meet the Teacher night where our kindergarten students came, and then we had a kindergarten Meet the Teacher night. So by the time school started, we figured those little 5-year-olds had met us 4 to 5 times. And this is the first year in my entire career that we did not have one crying kindergarten student. So we're like, this works. We're doing this from now on until I am gone, and even longer. The next thing, we talk about our Wildcat values is what we talk about as our, I guess, quote unquote rules. We talk about how it's a Wildcat thing to be respectful, responsible, and safe. And this year we've taken on the theme of kindness is magic. And you will see that on Fridays with a Wildcat cheer that we chant. I have students come and help me with the chant. We have actions, so come on Friday. You can see that Wildcat cheer. It's super fun. We have Wildcat cards that I will read over the intercom, and we just celebrate all the great things that our students are doing. And then I contact parents when students have a Wildcat card. We have a book vending machine that they get to choose a book from. We have our pause room, our wellness room. We have lots of wellness groups that our social worker will run throughout the year. We have our 4th through 6th grade STEAM Fridays, which are super exciting to watch all of the STEAM activities that our upper grade teachers are doing. We have a Wildcats Read program where we send 60 books home a month, and the students will read that book with their family, and you can see then they fill out this little book review, and we hang those on a bulletin board, and then they send in pictures of their family reading the book, and that's been so fun to get those pictures back. We have a kindness club, we have junior hub squad, we have our arts program, we have lots of support for our families. Thanks to the district and the board for supporting all of these different things with social workers and advocates and coaches and principal pantry, 512 bags, all of that is just really helps our students and their families, and they're very appreciative of all of those things. And really, we just love our Wildcats. We love our Wildcats. They are the most incredible group of human beings, as you saw with Matthias and Sailor and their parents. They are the reason I get up and go to work and love my job is our Wildcats. So our story is still being written at Westridge, and it's being written with an incredibly dedicated team that's working so hard to make a difference in the lives of children. And I'm super proud to be part of that team and to work with these people that you see on the screen and to actually learn from them every day. It's a joy. So thank you for letting me be here. Sorry, I took a little more time probably than I should have, but thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
What questions do you have or comments, board members?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Terry.
The amount of students in your 5th grade classes, do they have special helpers for those classes because they have high numbers?
We don't have an individual assistant for them. So what we do is really prioritize that grade level and interventions if they need it, and prioritize our instructional assistants that are our general ed instructional assistants and getting them the help they need. Yeah.
Other comments?
Just thank you. All right. Thank you, you guys.
Well, I wanted to go. I just want to make sure everyone does that. I just love seeing you guys are so focused on your goals and that you're setting lofty goals, right? That you want to achieve great things for your students and you're not afraid to pick some big numbers. I did have a question on your goals to increase the proficiency of the 1st and 2nd grade students who are in the red.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason why 1st grade was 20% and 2nd grade's 40%? Like, that's a big difference between the two.
So our 2nd grade historically has been low. If you look at historical data for 2nd grade at Westridge, it's been low. And I think if you look at district-wide, 2nd grade is lower as well. It's an interesting grade level. And so we are like, no, we want them when they get to 3rd grade, we want all of them, as many as possible, to be ready. And so we set a lofty goal.
I love it.
Purposely.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
you
it.
guys.
All right. Now our next item is time for public input. Is there anyone here tonight to give input or comment? Have we received anything, Moni? All right. Then we will move on to our next portion. And this is our Truth in Taxation update. And I will let Wendy share.
Well, this has been super fun. So back in the spring, as we built our budget, we realized that we needed to go through a truth in taxation process, as well as really starting the process of evaluating our programs and figuring out what our priorities are and getting all of that input put together. So we held a truth in taxation hearing in August. And you as a board voted to go ahead and implement that tax increase to generate the additional $3.7 million at that time. Now I think it's $4 million that we needed for the budget. In the meantime, we also discovered that the valuations that had come back from the county were incorrect. And so whereas before we were talking about this was going to have less of an impact on our homeowners than we discovered it was going to have. I believe the number was $81 on an average home value for the city of Provo. And we went ahead and decided, the board went ahead and decided to continue with that because we wanted to help support our teachers' salaries. That's really where we have focused a lot of our energy to ensure that our teachers have competitive salaries. Then we were notified by the Utah State Tax Commission that our tax rate was not certified because we had held a business meeting after the public hearing. And so we did go to the Utah State Tax Commission. Devin and I went with several of you as board members and appealed that and explained that much of the information that we had been provided by the county, as well as resources from the State Tax Commission website, that we had followed all of that. This is the process we have followed every single time we've done a truth in taxation process. And they just stated that it's clear in the law. And so there were several entities, I believe over 30, whose rates were not certified across the state. And so as a result, we are now left in a position where we are going to pull that $4 million out of our fund balance, and it will mean that we are coming to the taxpayers for a truth in taxation next year. So as taxpayers throughout Provo got their tax notices, then you'll notice that there wasn't as much of an adjustment as what we had originally thought. But in order to continue to make our teacher salaries competitive so we can keep the very, very best people in Provo, we are going to have to continue to look at that, as well as really combing through our budget. And we've already started that process as we build our budget for the 26-27 school year. Any questions or additions that I have left out? Devin?
You did a great job.
Yeah, so thank you. That's a lot to explain, right? So yeah, just to emphasize, that means there was no tax increase this year. So the process we went through and the notifications we sent everyone in August about we're doing this, we're going to raise taxes, there was no tax. It's as if we didn't do it.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll have to go through that again next year. But I've had a few people ask what they can do to help. We are paying for it out of our budget, right? Our rainy day balance, right? Our fund balance. But I think the biggest thing, if people want to help, this was brought up in an education committee meeting last month, it was the tax and rev committee. And some of the legislators said, well, if 60% of the entities who went through this process were not certified, that's probably on us, that we maybe need to make some adjustments. But we're not sure that all the legislators feel that way, and so if the public can help us advocate to, it's a very long checklist, and we're all trying our best to be compliant, and no one was trying to be out of compliance, right? But we would love support from our legislators to just clarify some things and make the process as smooth as possible so that we want to be transparent with our taxpayers, and also don't want to have to go through an onerous process every single time. That takes way too much time sometimes to go through those checklists and things. So we'd love your help talking to our legislators. So, all right, thank you. Next, we'll move to our business items, and our first one is our student travel for our Timpview High School dance going to California.
Yeah, so they're going to participate in several different dance classes at different studios. It's just an opportunity for them to experience different types of dance. I think a lot of the dance that is available around here is modern dance, so this opens up those opportunities for these students.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the proposed Timpview High School dance trip to California as discussed in open meetings tonight.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Boyce. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Is there any discussion? I just want to say that I am concerned when programs continually have large, expensive trips year to year. And it's hard because you want to provide opportunities, but it's also a lot on the families. And so I would be open to having future discussions about if we need to put it in policy, that if it's over a certain amount, those trips need to be every other year or something, because I personally would feel better about that. That being said, this teacher did say that parents were very excited about it and were asking for it. And so that changes how I would have voted for this tonight. But any other discussion?
Yeah, I was going to say, in response to that, though, I feel like then we would need to have that conversation and make sure we're applying that standard evenly, because there are some groups that go every year that I feel like maybe don't get questioned, and then some that do, and it might be reflective of various biases and things. But I think whatever we do, we need to be consistent. Because,
it would be in a policy, right?
I would be fine if that would come to policy committee as something that we look at in the future.
Okay. All right, we will now take a vote. All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. And our next one is our Provo High Chair going to California.
So this is part of their competition. So they compete at the state level, and then they'll qualify for nationals, and then they're competing at the national level for their competition team. And Provo High has really done a great job of moving their program in the right direction and making it really competitive at a national level.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the proposed student travel Provo High School cheer trip to California as discussed in open meetings tonight.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Harrison. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Any discussion? All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Next on our agenda is a large purchase request for the Wasatch Wall, but as we discussed in our earlier study session, the engineering teams are still working on a plan, and there is not a financial decision to be made yet. So do we have a motion to table this item?
I move that we table this agenda item.
Okay, motion made by Board Member McCabe. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right. Next is our Dixon site decision. So we've been talking over the last few board meetings in particular about what we would like to utilize our Dixon site for, and so we're ready to make a decision on that tonight. We've heard a lot of community input specifically about rebuilding Timpanogos Elementary, which is only a couple blocks away. They're on a very small site and a busy road, and many safety concerns that parents have brought to us. More public comment than I've seen in a long time on any issue. So anyway, so tonight we're ready to vote on what we would like to do with the Dixon site. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the relocation of Timpanogos Elementary School to the former Dixon Middle School site.
Okay, motion made by Vice President Hales. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Any discussion?
Is relocation the right word? Is relocation the right word?
Yes, because you are changing the location of it. You're moving it from this place to this
Would
place,
it,
right?
if it's a name change though, will it still be Timpanogos?
We haven't decided that
I don't
yet.
think that needs to be in the motion though, right?
I don't know if
Part, though, yeah.
okay.
Because we haven't decided that yet.
Yeah. I think as long as the motion's clear on what our intent is, then.
I'm still not sure that relocation is the right way to say that.
What would you want to say instead?
Something more like, we're going to rebuild Dixon as an elementary school, and then, I don't know.
That doesn't then capture the idea that it's actually Timpanogos Elementary, that we are physically moving to the Dixon site. If you say you're going to rebuild Dixon as an elementary school, that sounds like it's a brand new elementary school and that we're not relocating Timpanogos. So I do think the language is correct.
Terry, would you like to make a substitute motion?
I'm not sure on the wording yet, but because you're not physically moving Timpanogos onto the Dixon site, you're not relocating.
But we are.
You're relocating the population though. That elementary school and the students who go there, they are relocating to the new location. So in my mind, it's not as much about the building, you're just relocating this whole student population and administration that's already existing and established. So that's why it seems like a relocation. Because, I mean, talking about moving Wasatch.
That wasn't a relocation, that was a brand. Yeah.
But it's the same, it is the same actually.
Yeah, but we didn't word it that way.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I'm fine with relocation. Relocation makes sense in my mind, but I don't know.
What if, can I make a counter motion? I've
It would
never
be a
done
it would be a
before.
substitute motion.
Substitute motion. Okay, I move that we build an elementary school on the Dixon site to house the Timpanogos elementary population of students.
Okay, so that motion has been made by Board Member Boyce and seconded by Board Member McCabe. Is there any discussion on this substitute motion?
Can you read that back, Bonnie? Did you get that?
Thank you. I move that we build an elementary school on the Dixon site to house the Timpanogos, I'm still typing, population.
Is a Timpanogos elementary or Timpanogos elementary school population.
Yeah.
To house the Timpanogos elementary school population.
Sure.
All right, any
Done?
discussion on that? So what we would be voting on right now is to change the language of the motion. So if you vote in favor, that changes the language, and then we would still have to have another vote on the decision. If you vote in opposition, it just means then we go back to the original motion made by Gina.
Okay.
Any other discussion before we vote on this language change? Okay, all in favor with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with nay? I was a nay, sorry. Okay, well, that passes 6-1. So that is our new language. And so, can you restate that again for us, Bonnie? Sorry.
Yes. Sorry, I move that we build an elementary school on the Dixon site to house the Timpanogos elementary school population.
Okay, so that is now the motion that we are going to vote on. Is there any discussion on the motion? Meg, I saw you first, sorry.
I'm just, I just want to speak to, as I've thought about this decision and what to do with the Dixon site, and looking at all of our elementary schools and the size of their sites, the Timpanogos site really is smaller than all of the sites, and their space for recess, their space around the school, and even in the school is just, as we've had these discussions, I really do feel like it would be, that population should be better served with a bigger school and more space for recess and whatnot. So.
Okay, Gina?
I echo what Board Member Van Wagenen just said. And I think because the middle school was moved, this presents a unique opportunity to now have a bigger site. And by bigger, from other discussions I've had, it's still not as big as many of the elementary schools in our district, which is fine. And this is, for those of you who don't know, this is my area. I live around the corner from here. This is my constituency that's right here for both Dixon and the Dixon site and the Timpanogos Elementary site. I do think that they could benefit. They're one of the bigger populations with the smallest site. And because the middle school moved, I think that gives us a unique opportunity to now move the elementary school to that site. And I'm encouraged by the fact that we can almost immediately move in some other programs that need a permanent home and need a good home. I don't know if I would vote for this if we just were going to leave another site and just have it be empty, right? But I feel like there are a lot of good uses for that site. For the Timpanogos site. And so I appreciate that. I also want to, for my community who may be watching, there are a couple things that we need to be thinking about. One is there's not going to be tennis courts. So I hear that all the time. I think that's got to be put to rest. And in my opinion, an elementary school is more important than tennis courts. So the tennis courts, and I don't know what's going to happen with the field. That is the other thing that I hear a lot. I think it'll be like the current Timpanogos site where after hours you can go in the gates and you can use the field there, but it will change. It will change. A lot will stay the same, and there's going to also be a lot that will change. And so we'll just need to talk through those, but I just want my community to recognize that there are there's concessions that have to be made with every decision, and those are two of the ones that I've thought about. Also, which we haven't decided, is the naming of the school, which we'll have to decide later as well.
Other discussion? Go ahead, Lisa.
Do you want to go ahead, Melanie?
Oh, sorry, Nancy.
I just wanted to say that this has been a long time coming, and I'm really happy that we're going to be putting a school in that community, that they deserve it. So I'm happy for that community, and that we'll build something that's very nice for them.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on a couple of things that, for me, really helped me with, as I was hearing the presentation from the principal, but then also from parents and students and teachers and community members. Something that really impacted me was how within the constraints of the current building, how challenging it is for teachers to be able to actually meet their students' needs. For example, if you need to provide interventions for a smaller group of students, and you're sitting in a noisy stairwell, for example, to find a space for that, that is not best practice. That is not the standard that Provo City School District holds. That's not what we want for our students and their families or for our teachers. We value safety. We value quality teaching and learning environments. We want people to be safe. We want to be able to support teams of teachers. We've seen the magic that happens when teams collaborate and share data. And so if you've got part of your team on one floor and part of your team on another floor, I just feel like there's so many barriers. And I'm so impressed with the spirit of Timpanogos and the way they just tackle all of that. And I feel like they're doing a great job with their space. But I think, given we also have needs for a building that Timpanogos can meet those needs really well. We have access to public transportation for some of these other programs. That this is the thing that makes to me the most sense, not just for the quality of education, but also in terms of financial responsibility. So anyway, I'm really thrilled to be able to vote on this tonight.
Anybody else? All right. I just want to add, a lot of you said exactly what I want to say, so I echo all of that. I do feel like this is the best use of our resources and the best way to take care of our students, not only at Timpanogos, but in the other programs that will be housed at the Timpanogos site. And I want to add, I appreciate the community input because that helps us make the best decisions. And not only have we gotten input from primarily the Timpanogos community, but as I've gone out to other schools and been with parents in different meetings and provided updates about what we're doing as a board, I've shared this discussion and I've not heard any parent be opposed to it. Like, I appreciate that parents throughout the district, especially the schools I'm at, are in a different part of town, right? They could be like, hey, that's not important to me. Why are you doing that? But we all in Provo support all of our students and all of our teachers, and I really appreciate that from our community. So,
One thing, sorry.
Jana, go ahead.
Sorry. I did hear from at least one parent who was not necessarily opposed to Timpanogos moving there, but just some other concerns with finances and things like that. And I just want to say that I appreciate hearing from parents who may disagree with me as well, because that really, and then hearing like how we're going to pay for it. And I know that Lisa's what I'm thinking of specifically, had some questions from her constituents that were like, how are we going to pay for this? Are we overtaxing our base? And I just want to say that I very much appreciate even the people who had these questions, because it really made me think through all of these things. In the end, my opinion didn't change, but my approach, I think, has changed. And so I appreciate when people speak up, even when they disagree with me. And so I just want to make that clear. If you have spoken up and said, I don't want to do this, at least right now, that we didn't ignore that. We listened to you, but there were some other factors that we took, that at least I should speak for myself, that I took into consideration. But I very much appreciate those voices, even those that had a different opinion than mine.
Lisa.
Sorry, I just wanted to also say we're not voting specifically on timing tonight or even all of the financial pieces of this decision. Those are things that we want input from the public on, and we want everyone's voices in that conversation so that we are smart about how and when we manage this process.
All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. So, all in favor to build an elementary school on the Dixon site?
Jennifer, hold on.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I didn't catch the motion in the second on this. I'm not sure that there was one. I think you went right to discussion. Or I missed it.
Oh, Terry.
Which I apologize for.
Terry.
Lisa's motion.
Lisa.
That was for the last
Oh,
motion.
for the last one.
We didn't
motion I think.
Did we?
Okay.
Do we have to?
So
Well, because that's
Or did
now
they
our
do it
motion.
again?
Oh.
I think it's the
Right,
same,
that's
Bonnie,
now our
because it's
motion.
now the motion, so it's the same person.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's.
Got it, thank you.
So Lisa and Terry. Yeah. Okay. So the motion is that we build an elementary school on the Dixon site to house the Timpanogos Elementary School population. All in favor with aye? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. That would be our Timpanogos. And Lisa just mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again. This was a decision on what we're doing with the site. Now we will continue to have discussions on the timing and things. And we did talk about that some tonight in our study session. So if anyone's interested, you can go back and watch that on our YouTube. But it does take time to design a building, so we can get started on some of that and involve our community on what that looks like and how we're going to pay for it and when that will affect our taxpayers and things like that. So, and we are considering, in addition to bonding, or not just bonding, I should say, but finding other ways to help pay for some of it so that lessens how much we need to raise taxes on that. So, all right. Item number 5 is our large purchase request for Timpview baseball donation, and I'm going to turn that over to Devin to explain.
So we received a donation to help with the Timpview baseball field in order to help level the field and to provide a really nice playing surface. The donation is $50,000. The cost with the maintenance on the field is just a little over $90,000. The difference of that will be paid for by Timpview's budget, but they are also anticipating additional donations.
Thank you. So really, we're not approving a purchase, we're approving a donation.
You're both. So you're approving the donation of $50,000 and the payment to the vendor for, that's $91,449. So the total cost for the outfield or for the field maintenance is $91,000. Now this year it'll be $78,000, which you'll see on the bill that's broken out. Since it's over $50,000 and it will come out of our account, it still needs to be approved by the board.
So the donation's coming to us, not to the
The donation
vendor?
is coming to us, yes. Originally, the thought was they were going to pay the vendor directly, and there was less tax benefit from that.
Okay, so that's why it's a purchase, because we're paying more than $50,000 and then receiving a donation.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. All right, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the large purchase request in the amount of $91,449, along with a donation of $50,000 for Timpview High baseball fields playing surface.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Van Wagenen. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Hall. Is there any discussion? Go ahead, Mike.
I feel like, I don't know why I keep saying I feel. We talked about this a few meetings ago. It's like what women do, right? Okay. And I just wanted to just reiterate that, I think the Timpview baseball field is in need of attention and had some safety concerns, and so I think this is a great way to address it with being able to receive this donation. And if I'm correct, Devin, is it correct that the people the turf or the company that's doing the field work, we also are going to be able to use them to do maintenance on both of our baseball fields?
Correct.
That's kind of part of this.
We can. There are other vendors that Provo High uses as well.
Okay.
And so, but it is one that we can use.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, let's take a vote. All in favor with aye? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. And now we will look at policies to approve, starting with policy 1402.
This is just an update to a policy that defines what a closed meeting is for the board and for what reasons a closed meeting may be held.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve policy 1402, closed meetings as discussed in open meetings tonight.
All right, motion made by Board Member Hall. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President Hales. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Next is 1405, meeting locations.
This is an update to an existing policy, just updates definitions and expectations about meeting locations and where they must be held and why they're held in those spaces.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve policy 1405, meeting locations as discussed in open meetings tonight.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Van Wagenen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Harrison. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor with aye? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Next is policy 1600.
Policy 1600 is about a code of ethics, states that board members must follow a code of ethics, so we've updated that and also attached the code of ethics in the procedure, indicating that you as board members agree to follow the code of ethics.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve policy 1600, code of ethics, as discussed in open meetings tonight.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Boyce. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Hall. Any discussion? All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Policy 1420, electronic board meetings.
This just provides an update to our policy of our expectations for electronic board meetings and also establishes that you as a board have decided that you will not allow proxy voting, that a board member must be present either electronically or in person to cast a vote on an agenda item.
All right, do we have a motion on this policy?
I move that we approve policy 1420, electronic board meetings as discussed in open meetings tonight.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Harrison. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Van Wagenen. Any discussion? All right, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. And our last business item, policy 1503.
Superintendent qualification states that the superintendent must take and sign the constitutional oath of office and that signed document is filed with the business administrator.
All right, do you have a motion?
I move that we approve policy 1503, superintendent qualifications and responsibilities as discussed in open meetings tonight.
Okay, motion made by Vice President Hales. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Boyce. Any discussion? All right, all in favor with aye? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Next is the consent calendar. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the items on the consent calendar.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Hall. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Board Member Harrison. Any discussion? All in favor with aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Okay, next, the moment we've all been waiting for, item G, is our student board member report. So we're going to invite our student board members, Bailey and Rachel, to come on up. And we are excited to hear what you guys have been up to.
Hi, my name is Rachel Rue. I'm the student board member for Timpview High School.
My name is Bailey Lindstrom. I'm the student board member for Provo High.
And most recently, we had our Student Advisory Council training in late September, and we identified like the involved activities of each of the student advisory members and introduced them to what exactly we do in our council meetings. And we asked them for ideas for student feedback, and a lot of them recommended doing Google Forms or QR codes throughout school.
Another thing that another thing that we've talked about is longer lunch periods. We've compared it to Olympus High School's lunch schedule, which is I think about an hour, right? So yeah, we talked about that and seeing if that would be an option for Timpview and Provo.
We also talked about concerns with hallway sweeping, so students that are stagnant in the halls or not going to class or sloughing. And at Provo High, they reiterated that they currently have a hallway sweeping policy that's been working very well for them. So I was able to work with our Timpview admin to focus on having a similar type of sweeping policy at our school.
And then we also talked about the Maple Mountain dance incident and how we can make our school dances safer. So we've talked about requiring student ID and the ticket and the receipt for entrance, and then the possibility of no reentry once you're in the school, but then also having like an outside area so that people can cool down because it gets really hot. So yeah.
And then our next Student Advisory Council meeting is planned for November 5th. Any questions for us?
No. Any questions? What is something you're learning so far as being a student board member or working with the Student Advisory Council?
Just learning how to take, like, what's the word? Feedback from other people. It's cool to be able to work with so many different students from these two schools, and so just taking into consideration everyone's opinions, it's awesome.
I also think I always love learning about everything new about Provo High School and like comparing it to my high school life and realizing like there's so many differences, but we also have so many similarities and like common issues. And yeah, I just loved and like being able to learn about like the Provo High sweeping, like the hallway sweeping policy, because like we've never had anything like that at Timpview, and it would be really helpful for us. Yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome. Okay, thank you guys so much. We love having you here. All right, next is our business administrator report.
This is probably the worst thing anyone can do is give an open mic to a finance person. Not super exciting. But I wanted to just express my appreciation, really. And the last couple months, we've been through our very extensive audit. We have a new audit firm this year. And so they always look at everything with a little bit more of a new lens. And I just have to express my appreciation for my team. We're down a person, and everyone else in my team has stepped up and really been a great support to all of the schools and to me. And I mean, we have Laura here tonight helping Bonnie learn to back up for board meetings. So, and I just appreciate our team just really stepping up.
Wonderful report. Thank you, Devin. Okay, board member roundtable. This is the opportunity for board members to share anything from their different assignments that they would like us to be aware of. And we're just going to take whoever wants to speak up. So anybody want to share anything? Melanie, you?
No.
Oh, okay, Terry.
She's going to beat me.
This time, Terry beat. No.
September was Lawmaker in the Classroom Month. Randy Booth, our state school board member, visited Provost Elementary School. We have 3 senators and 4 representatives who represent Provo. 5 have visited schools, 1 is scheduled, and 1 won't return our phone calls. Thank you to our legislators for visiting and listening to our needs, and thank you to all our schools for hosting them, and Shoreline Middle School for hosting Representative White from the Education Committee, as you saw in the video earlier. Interim session is this week. Yesterday was School Security Task Force, and tomorrow is the Education Committee. I want to encourage all the parents and the public to become familiar with the legislator's website, which is le.utah.gov, before the November interim session and the January session. And lastly, I want to thank Vern Kessler and his team at the City Traffic Engineers Department for going to all the school community councils to help create all the safe routes to school plans.
Thank you, Terry. All right, Melanie.
I was just going to say that with policy committee, I want to say thank you to all the hard work, especially for Wendy, that she's been doing on that. We're just in the 1000s, but we're almost done. Are we almost to the 2000s? Yes. So that's exciting news. So thank you so much for her hard work on all of that. And I'm really excited to be working with the Student Advisory Committee this year. And it's fun to see their new perspectives and see that they were willing to participate in that roundtable. So
I'll go next. I got to go to Centennial Middle School with Norm Thurston, one of our representatives, and it was a great meeting. Principal Edward was awesome and really had some fun things to show us. We got to see a classroom instruction, and then he got to meet with their student government kids, and they had questions for him that were prepared, and he did a great job. I just really appreciated Representative Thurston for showing up and caring about our students, and thanks to Principal Edwards for being a very gracious host.
Great. Gina.
I am assisting Board Member Hall with student board members. I think I'm realizing now what a big task that is and was, because it's big. But I just wanted to, I think the board might know, but let everybody know that we were accepted for the Utah School Boards Association conference in January, that our student board members, at least one of them, I don't know if Bailey can go yet, but we will be having a presentation on student board members led by at least one of our student board members, and then backed up by our board, but Melanie and I in particular. And it was actually quite a feat this year because there were so many different applications that a lot of people didn't get chosen for this. So, and actually I missed the deadline, but they let me send it in a little bit late because they had so many people asking about because we presented last year, they had so many people asking about our program and wanting another presentation that they allowed us to turn it in just like a week late. So I think that'll be a great experience for our student board members as well as student board members throughout the state.
Yeah, I'm on the board of directors where they presented the different classes and they said, here's the ones we're going to go with out of the applications, and we want to make sure we get the Provo student board members too, right? Like they've been asking for it, so I think that's a big compliment to what we're doing here. So, anybody else want to share anything? Lisa?
I want to give a shout out to Principal Burge and Christine Watcott over at Canyon Crest. I just went to the PTA meeting that they had in the evening, and I was grateful, number one, that it was in the evening because I work during the days, and to see so many parents there in the evening. I love their willingness to be flexible back and forth between days and evenings with their PTA, but also to see there were faculty and staff there and administrators there as well as parents after a long day of work. And then also just, it's hard to step into a new school, I would think, and to immediately see the culture and the camaraderie of that team there at Canyon Crest, and then watching their attendance challenge stuff and just the fun videos that they're posting, that they're doing a great job of creating their own school culture, moving all the good things forward. And then just, anyway, I'm grateful for that leadership there.
I first want to say, Meg and I help with but we're assigned to the PTA, and it is their 100-year anniversary of the Utah PTA, and so we want to congratulate them on that and thank our PTAs throughout the district for all the support that they give to our schools. And the hard work, the district PTA really is working hard to empower the local presidents on being effective and being able to do their role well and with support. So that is great. Also with the foundation, they've been working hard. They updated their bylaws and are putting some really good things in place to get, I always forget the name, like a trustee level to bring in more support, more donations as well. We had a successful golf tournament fundraiser, which brought in more than I think it ever has. Is that correct? Yeah. So that we appreciate their hard work and those who are contributing as donors to our district to help us support our students in that. And upcoming, they're going to be talking about the big fundraiser later in the year and maybe making some adjustments to that this year, but stay tuned. They also have a couple of openings on the board, the foundation board. So if any of you can think of someone who would be really good to serve there, please let Terry or I know because we would love to get a good variety of people on that board. So, all right, we will now. Oh, Meg, did you want to?
No, I'm
okay.
good. I've said enough of my feelings.
Okay. All right, we'll now turn it over to Superintendent Wendy Dow for her report.
You can see the approved student travel. We have the trips that have been approved by the board, and then we have some teams that are traveling down to St. George. I just wanted to give a big shout out to all of our principals. It is National Principals Appreciation Month. As I go to each visit at the schools, I spend some time just talking with principals. And I think if I could let people know what our principals do, it's one, they have a genuine enthusiasm for their job. They love their students, they care about their teachers, they care about instruction, and they go above and beyond. I hear sometimes people make comments about we don't need more administrators, but when you start looking at what we expect of our principals, they do need that help in the school. They do need assistant principals to help them with those heavy lifts. And also remembering that a principal is a person that is managing all of the emotions and the needs of every single stakeholder that walks through that door. So recognizing they're having their own version of the day, and then a student has their version of the day, the teacher has their version of the day, the parent has their version of the day, their boss has their version of the day, and managing all of that with the kind of finesse that they do and the way that they build community within the school. I've just been so impressed. In every single school, I feel that feeling of just positive culture, every student welcome, really trying to help parents feel welcome, and that helping our parents understand that we care about their kids as much as they do, and just the tireless efforts. This is not, an 8-hour-a-day job. It is a weight that is on them, particularly when it comes to the safety and well-being of their students. So if you have a chance, please let your principals know how much you appreciate them. We are very, very, very fortunate in Provo City School District to have the leaders that we do at our school level. So,
love it. Thank you. Our next board meeting is 2 weeks from today on October 28th. But before that, we have a joint meeting with the City Council on Thursday, October 23rd. That will be at noon at the City Council chambers at the city building. So do we have a motion to adjourn our business meeting?
I move that we adjourn our business meeting.
Okay, motion made by Board Member Boyce, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Let's go talk to Mommy.
Who does the public girl Sunday?
Did you meet? Yeah, I did meet today.